graduation from Vaidyaratnam PS Warrior Ayurveda College, Kottekal, University of Calicut, and he has completed Masters in Rasasastra and Vishodhana Kalpana from Institute of Post Graduation and Training and Research Center, Gujarat Ayurvedic University, Jamnagar. Sir has many research papers published in national and international journals, and also has appeared as a resource person and as a guest speaker in more than 40 national and international workshops and conferences. Sir has published books like Fluctuation of Intellect and Sankalp, which approved by Public Library of Japan, Ayurveda in Cartoon, Novelite Chaityam. We are very happy to have you, sir, on this platform, Vishodhana 2020. And sir is going to talk on recent advances in Rasasastra. Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Hello. So, Dibba? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. First of all, my humble pranam to one and all. And I want to extend my thanks to the people, those who are invited to this webinar, and thus giving me a chance to share my views about the topic, recent advances in Rasasastra. So I want to extend my thanks to my colleagues, those who are viewing this program, and also participating in this webinar and presenting their views. So my topic, recent advances in Rasasastra. So can you please put my PPT?
Yes, sir.
Is it loaded?
A second, please, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So recent advances in Rasasastra. And before moving to discuss about the advances in Rasasastra, we should have a clear-cut idea about the history of Rasasastra, what we had in olden periods. Then only we can identify in which angle we advanced more. So let's next slide, please. So every Shastras of India, Tantras of India, trace back to the Vedic period. The notations of all applied, non-applied wisdoms have their own side gods in the Veda. When the wisdom of Vedas combined together to the components of other Vedic culture like Upanishad, Aranyaka, Brahmana, and the Sanskrit Mahabhashya, and Shaddarshana, it will widen its wings and developing into Tantra. Tantra means the technology. We have about 64 Tantras. Among these 64 Tantras, one is Rasasastra, Rasa Tantra. We have two forms of knowledge. One is wisdom, another one is tantra. Wisdom is the pure science, that's the Veda, the wisdom, and tantras are the application points, that's the technologies. So the clear-cut narration of metals are starting from Yajurveda. The Rudra Sukta of Yajurveda, the Chamakas are there. In the fifth Chamaka, 6 metals are mentioned. So from there onwards, the history of metal knowledge of India begins. From there, it widens to thousands of texts and authors in different Indian languages. And we also understand that the texts are not only written in Sanskrit. Many of the texts are written in many regional languages. That's also our wealth. That's also we should adopt our knowledge, the wealth of knowledge. Basically, the classic texts of Rasasastra is mentioned in 2 languages, Sanskrit and Tamil. These 2 languages are having very strong grammar. That's why most of the Indian wisdoms are documented in these 2 languages. So the person who studying both languages and aspirating the interested topics from these 2 will get a very clear-cut picture of the thought process of our ancestors. That's very interesting to say. That's my view, because as I'm a Kerala person, I'm getting a chance. I'm living in a border of Kerala. I'm getting a chance to interact with these 2 cultures. And that's the beauty of Kerala culture, I think. In Kerala culture, you will get the mixture. It's a hybrid culture of Sanskrit and Tamil. This Rasasastra is developed by keeping the tantric philosophy as its base. Next slide, please. It's developed from the tantric philosophy everybody knows. And there is so many offshoots of tantric philosophy. One system considered Shaiva, Shakta, and Yamala Tantras. Another one is Vaishnava Tantra, Ganapatya, Saura, and all these things. So considering all these things, it is better to classify in another way to study Rasasastra. So you can find out that it has 4 prominent offroots. So Rasasastra also developing from this tantric system. So we will get 4 offshoots of Rasasastra, 4 different schools of Rasasastra with identical works. Next slide, please. That is, one is Japalika Sampradaya. This Japalika Sampradaya of Tantra we can see in the Kashmir area, in the northern part of India. If I'm giving an example about the Rasa system linked with that Sampradaya is Rasahridaya Tantra. That is the identical textbooks written depending upon the Japalika Sampradaya. And another one is Kapalika Sampradaya. This Kapalika Sampradaya we can see in the middle part of India, like Andhra, Karnataka, and Maharashtra area. The book Ananda Kanda was written depending upon this Sampradaya. Another one is Natha Sampradaya. Gorakhnatha Tantra is one of the important texts written by keeping this Sampradaya as its base. That we can see in the Bengal and Orissa, that area. Mainly, we cannot make such concrete demarcation, but in general. And another one is Siddha Sampradaya. That we can see in the south part of India. Literature are mainly in Tamil language. And some texts are written both, we can find out some texts are written in both languages, in Sanskrit as well as in Tamil. For example, Ananda Kantam. Ananda Kantam, we will get 2 versions, the text with Sanskrit, the text with Tamil. Siddha Sampradaya, the authors are mainly 18 Siddhas. There is about a number of Siddhas. Mainly 18 Siddhas are important. Among them, Nandikesha and Agastya is most important Siddhas. In this Siddha Parampara, two schools are there. One is Shaiva schools, another is Vaishnava school. Agastya, Nandikesha, these are Shaiva schools, Siddhas. Konkanavar is another, that is Vaishnava cult. They are following Vaishnava cult. Next slide, please. From there, the Rasasastra is developed. So at that time, it was in primitive stage and slowly is developed. First of all these texts are describing about the Rasayana, the Kalpa forms, not for individual disease treatment, you know very well. Later on, it's developed into many texts and is developed into clinical form. A type of chemotherapeutics is developed. And it's in the recent test, it's started to address each and every diseases. Later textbooks, just like Yoga Ratnakara, Bhaishya Ratnavali, all these texts they are mixing with the herbal medicines. First of all, of the text, it narrates with the herbal medicine, and later on it will narrate the rasa medicines. So if the patient is in acute stage, in complicated stage, the text advises to use rasa medicine. When the text Ashtanga Sangraha says, when it narrates about the treatment of Vidhrati, it says, Tibra Vidahitvad Vidhrati iti sapnyaha. Pakvetu punah deviki siddhihi ashukaritarascha. Pakvetu punaha, if it's inflamed, if the Vidhrati is highly inflamed, to arrest the inflammation and infection, should use rasa medicine. Deviki siddhi means rasa medicine. So that's where it's developed. That's where it advances. Then, what is the present advance? Present advance we can divide into two. One advancement that we are getting in Rasasastra, purely in Rasasastra in India. Another development is happening in the modern world too, in the allopathic side, in the Western medicine too. First of all, the Western medicine advises to use iron to tackle the enemy conditions. At that time, they were only sticking to iron metal. As far as the metal is concerned, metal medicine is concerned, they were only approving iron to manage the anemia. Later on, we can see that they are in favor of using zinc. Now, zinc medicine is flooding like anything in the pharmaceutical field, and they are making money by marketing zinc medicines. And it says that the zinc will help to absorb iron in the perfect way. Presence of zinc will boost the absorption of iron from the system. So the combination of iron and zinc is highly appreciated nowadays. Slowly it's changing the picture. They are ready to approve copper now. When the nanotechnology developed, as a part of nanotechnology, nanomedicine is developed. When they have found the nanoparticles of the copper in nanoscale, they found that the nanoparticles copper is very good antibiotic. It's antibacterial, even antiviral. But still, they don't know how to use safely the copper. How to administrate copper compounds safely into the human body, they don't know. In fact, in the world, only we Indians people know how to administrate copper safely into human body. You know, it is astonishing to realize that US went for the patent of copper sulfate as a medicine for H1 and N1. but it's not came being into practice. Why? Because they don't know how to administer copper safely into the human body. The Shastra rightly told, na visham vishamityahu, tamram tu vishamuchyate. Tamra has Vandi Brandhi doshas, Ashtadoshas even. Some texts are describing like that. So to tackle all these doshas, we have developed the procedures, purification procedures, Marana procedures, and Amradikarana procedure, and particular dose fixation, particular adjuvants, particular dietetic restrictions. By using all this yukti, all this technology, all these devices, we are able to administer copper safely into the human body. And slowly they started to use aluminum also. So many aluminum compounds they are using as an antacid nowadays. And they also found that it's not good to use continuously. It's developing so many side effects in the human body. That means still they are not equipped with the safe administration of this type of metals. And also they are using mercury, not as direct medicine. Most of the serums are preserved nowadays using mercury compounds, thiomercury salicylic acid. In another term, they call thimerosal. Thimerosal, all the vaccines, the serums are preserved by the thimerosal. In that way, they are using mercury as a medicine. It's a part of medicine. And the arsenic they are using, arsenic trioxide, they are using as a very good remedy for hematological cancers. We know the use of arsenic in Rasasastra, the Talaka, Haritala, Manashila, all these, and Gauri Pashana, Shankha Pashana, and Taramakshika. These are the raw materials of Rasasastra which contains high percentage of arsenics. And Talaka Bhasma is a wonderful drug that can be used even in hematological cancers in Rasasastra. So the same version they are using now. So that's way, slowly allopathic side also advancing in Rasasastra, in chemotherapeutics. But what we have is another version, a different version, a very safe version, very effective version. Next slide, please. So that is the advancement in the modern world. So what is the recent developments that we can classify for the convenience? We can classify into four. One is academic developments. Second is research developments. Third is industrial growth, industrial developments. Fourth is clinical developments. What is the academic developments? How we can pinpoint the developments of academy as far as the Rasasastra is concerned. When I was planning to join for a higher studies master degree in Rasasastra, there was only a very few numbers of centers where we can join and study Rasasastra. In Kerala, only one center was there in Trivandrum, and another center was in Jamnagar. In between Hyderabad, one center was there, and NIA was there, and of course BHU was there. So I had to pass to Jamnagar with the university to study the PG. Now we can see a number of institutions coming ahead. They have UG, PG, and PhD programs. Now in Kerala, we have two centers where we can study Rasa master degree. And so many students are going for PhD programs also. So a number of colleges coming now, and the CCIM developed later on, which gave a uniform syllabus and very good opportunity to students to go for PhD and research. So that's an advancement came in academic field. And another is research development and industrial growth and clinical developments. Next slide, please. So in academic development, number of UG/PG centers increased now. Number of teaching staff also increased. Yes, of course, usual. More students are now opting Rasa for their PG. That's very important. In past days, if somebody is not getting Thai Chikitsa or Shalya Tantra for PG studies, then only they are opting for Rasa. Now it's not like that. Picture is totally changed. Some of the students, they are directly going to the Rasa. So that much interest created now. Moreover, they developed their academic skill with vigorous ROTP. Yes, ROTP program, updating the knowledge of staff, teaching staff. So that's very important. Seminars and workshops are now common, very common. Even in the Corona period, we are doing a number of webinars, sharing the knowledge, discussing with the topics. These are the advancement in the academy. These are the more new technology that we are adopting to our system. Now you think how many webinars are going on all over India? Every college is conducting webinars. And all these webinars are recording. And these are going to the YouTube. So in future, there is no need of any college. A person can sit and download the YouTube channel, and whatever they want, they will get from the YouTube. They will get very experts classes directly into their row. So that's a very good advancement. International seminars are included with different sessions of Rasasastra. Yeah, that's another important session. When the international seminars are coming, they are planning different sessions for Rasasastra. And some foreign countries are also gathering knowledge from Rasasastra. So that is the academic development. And next slide, please. And research development. We know without research, no science can exist. Our science also, with vigorous research and documentation, trial and error, we developed different textbooks. The first itself, in the opening part itself, I mentioned, it started from the Veda and is coming up to the Rasatarangini and recent textbooks works, and so many publications of eminent Rasa scholars. So research is very important. But what type of research is needed? That is the right question. So research can be classified into three groups as per their target. It's very simple to understand the present position of our research, to classify it into three. How we are designing its research. Once we are designing the research to explain Rasasastra in terms of modern science, to convince the scientific fraternity. We want to convince the modern people, the modern scientific people, that Rasasastra is scientific, Rasasastra is evidence-based, Rasasastra is safe, like that. But this we have to convince in their language and their terms. That is very difficult. A vigorous research work is essential to do all these things. For that, we have to work with interdisciplinary studies from the basic science itself. First of all, with the basic scientific people like chemistry, nanochemistry, mechanical chemistry, photochemistry. So many chemistry branches are there nowadays, not only chemistry, from physics too. It's developed, it's advancing much more. When the chemistry is advancing, it's also getting benefit to the Rasasastra, because we were able to include this thought process into Rasasastra, and it's giving more light into our thought process, Rasasastra thought process. For example, when nanochemistry came, we were able to illustrate our procedures, the purpose of our procedures in a beautiful way. But we cannot say that our basmas, our procedures are only defined under the basis of nanotechnology. That we cannot say. But at least we would like to say something in terms of modern chemistry, the people, the scientific fraternity. For that, this is very helpful. No question. Second is to re-establish endangered Rasasastra fractions and thus improve the academy. That is much more important. This site is very slow in our academy. You know, we say so we have 18 purification procedures for the mercury, 18 samskaras. We know only 8 samskaras. We cannot enter into the 9th samskara. Who will teach you? To whom you are waiting for? We have to develop our own. We have what we have. We have our textbooks. Work, and that is the research. Re-establish. Most of the Rasasastra book says that the mercury will become more potent and more safe if it is bubutshita. That means the 9th samskara. When the abrasattva is fed to the mercury will change a lot and it will change to a safe form and potent form. But unfortunately, we don't know these things. So this angle, this is the virgin area of Rasasastra where our scholars has to look and to work hard. Then only in the future we will be able to develop very safe medicines. So that is another part. And to offer sure medicine for the morbid diseases. Yes. Clinical trials. Moreover, we need dose fixation studies, I think. We have so many, and number of basmas, Abra basma we have, and we have Loha basma, many basmas, Vaikranda basma, many basmas. But dose fixation is very much important. And the modern methodology of dose fixation can be effectively utilized in Rasasastra. At least we can say Abrabasma, this much dose of Abrabasma is safe. And that will be a very good knowledge as far as a SR physician is concerned. And we have to find out more very good medicine for the coming challenges of health hazards, morbid diseases. For example, corona only. There is very good medicine in Rasasastra. By discussing the basic thought process of Rasasastra, basic pathology of Ayurveda, we have to generate new formulas, or we have to adopt existing formulas and go for a clinical trial and find out medicine. At present, very new diseases are coming, like viral infections, like chikungunya, dengue, and by trial by the physician, not in the clinic, in the labs, but in the general clinical clinics, physicians were able to design very good, effective medicine for this thing, and we are using that too. Next slide, please. And research can be classified into 3 groups as per their area. Apart from the field of Rasasastra, many papers are found to publish in other science branches. I will tell you how. In the nanotechnology, journals of nanotechnology, many articles are coming nowadays about the study of nanoparticles of metal made by green synthesis or biosynthesis. They are using the term green synthesis and biosynthesis. Don't be afraid. Don't be panicked. It is nothing but our bhasma only. When they are preparing a metallic nanoparticle by using any juice, they are terming as biosynthesis or green synthesis. Preparation method is like our method. So usually the people, those who are working in nanotechnology for pharmaceutical field, modern pharmaceutical field, they are taking our Naga Basma, Yashoda Basma, Vanga Basma, and going for analysis, various analysis, but they are using the term biosynthesis or green synthesis. In this, and a number of papers are publishing in pharmaceutical field. More than that, many papers are publishing in chemistry field. Now we are not looking that. We are checking only the pharmaceutical magazines. Please check in the chemistry magazines, chemistry research journals. And number of papers are publishing. So that's in the future, this data we can incorporate with Rasasastra. We can utilize this thing. So unknowingly, the research in Rasasastra is going on all around the world. And another thing is very interesting thing is interdisciplinary studies are started now. In Kerala, Ganji University chemistry department, nanochemistry department, they invited for PhD programs from the PG scholars of Ayurveda. So the PG scholars of Ayurveda can register for PhD programs in NG University. And the nanochemistry people and pharmaceutical people combined together. They are working now. This is one. Another, all over India, so many interdisciplinary studies are going on now and they're publishing. These are the advancement, real advancement of Rasasastra. And another thing I will tell you, studies in Rasasastra. As I told you earlier, we have to develop our science, our identical thought process, our siddhantas. Actually, what is research in Ayurveda? Ayurveda is narrated with different types of sutras. Acharya Sukta. We have Shishya Sutra, we have Sandigdha Sutra, we have Purva Bhaksha. So, by working and working, by vigorous research, if you can make a Shishya Sutra into Acharya Sutra, that is nothing but research. So, this type of development is necessary in the Shastra. Not only the research, by depending upon the modern protocol, is enough. We have to develop Rasasastra using our own terminology, our own technology, our own thought process. For example, our samskaras only. Our kalpas. How to use, how to prepare rasabhasma, how to use rasabhasma in the human body, how to go for kayakalpa, all these things should be studied. So the original Rasasastra work should be propagated. This side is very weak nowadays. People are taking one formula like Pradharantakarasa and going to analyze the efficacy of that combination Pradhara. And taking another tablet, Shwasanantam Kutika, and going to assess its effects in Shwasa. See, it's already found out by our acharyas, and the term is governed Shwasananda. Already name given Pradharantakarasam. Further, we are going to study same thing. In spite of that, if we can find out new things, and the work in the siddhantas, that is more important. Actually, there is a procedure called Agni Stapana. Apart from Vishodhana, Marana, we have Agnistapana karma. Rasam cha rasakam chaiva yo agni sahana ukruto. Deha lohamayim siddhim kurute atrana samshaya. Rasarata samuchaya. Those who are making fire stability to mercury and rasaka. Zinc only, zinc carbonate, that's all. Deha lohamayim siddhim. You know, better. Kurute atrana samshaya. So there is very few work about Agnistapana karma. So these type of angles are there in our text. Find out the angle, do the studies. That is necessary. So now we are able to say that our bhasma is not mere the oxide form of metals, metallic bhasmas. These type of n number of changes are, next slide please. Yeah, these are the physicochemical changes found in Ayurvedic drug trafficking. How we could find out all these things? By using modern tools. Now we can say oxidation is there because iron is changing to iron oxide, ferric oxide, ferrous oxide. And encapsulation technology is there, which is usually using the drug drafting technology of modern medicine. And crystal modification is there. What is the change between the Haritala and Rasamanika? Both are same chemical combination, but crystal modification is there. Even the slight crystal modification is able to develop wide range of pharmacodynamics in the human body. So that type of technology we are using. And change in magnetism. Magnetic change is, if you are preparing Kantaloha Bhasma, the raw material may be having high magnetism, but after preparation, the magnetism will vanish. So the change in magnetism is happening. Particle size reduction that we know. And organometallic combinations are developing. After incinerating, at a temperature range of 600 to 700 degrees, when you are checking the yield, you will get some part of organic materials in that one. It is quite astonishing how it is still existing by tackling this type of high temperature. So these are some questions, queries that we have to answer later. But now we are able to say, yeah, this is the structure of, this much is the structure of a bhasma. It's not a simple one. And photochemical reactions, while we are drying these things into direct sunlight. Because, of course, there is a photochemical reaction is happening that's enriching the effect of the drug. So in this way, we were able to define our procedures. This is an advancement of knowledge in the Rasasastra. Of course. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is a paper published, a number of papers are publishing nowadays. This is a paper published by the interdisciplinary study investigating structural aspect to understand find out that it's very safe to use the Rasasandura because Rasasandura, the rasified form of Rasasandura, is having alpha bone. It's very strong bone, so it should not make any problem to the human body in the set dosage. So just I showed the picture, that's all, to show you the advancement in the research field. Okay, next slide, please. Next one is publication. Here, I told you many publications are there in the world, but the number of publications really coming from Ayurvedic field or Rasasastra field is very few. Publications are found very poor as we Rasasastra people are very lazy. Here, the advancement of Rasasastra is getting an inertia, is big zero. So we should be equipped, we should be ready to publish the research documents in an international standard. So when you are going to publish the paper, Then only the scholars will get the idea how we have to do our research work. Next slide, please. And what's the positive aspects of facing today's research? What sort of help they are getting now? We are getting a number of help. That's why we are able to do research work, intense research work. Development of different branches of chemistry and physics offering help with vast parameters for the scholar. Yes, you know, we have X-ray, XRF studies, so many things, INA studies, so many things. So by using all these modern studies, modern tools, we can calibrate, we can analyze the changes taking place during our procedures. Advanced technologies help easy documentation and cross-reference. Yes, cross-reference is very easy now. Just Google it, you will get all the details. Now, our institutions like IPG Tindare and Banasint University, NIA, all these people are putting all these things in the website. So a scholar sitting in Trivandrum can download all this and make a cross-reference and can make essential changes in their studies. This is a very advanced form. Standardized raw materials like HG are available at open market. Yes. Now pure materials are available. So suppose you want HG, high purity, double distilled form, you will get in the market. And any metals in high pure form, copper with pure form, you will get in the market. Easily is available. In olden times, to get the mercury was so tedious. To get a pure copper, it was tedious. To get a pure zinc, it's tedious. If you are purchasing zinc from the market and you are going for zinc bhasma, that is Yashada bhasma, if you are exporting this Yashada bhasma to outside countries, suppose they are going for ICP MS studies to find out any other heavy metals contamination such bhasma, sometimes they may fall with lead, with percentage of mercury. To get away from this, this is a very good tool that you can purchase from the market, the raw material, very good purity, with very good purity. And if you are preparing the bhasma with this one, this can be tackled. And if you are properly standardizing your procedures, you can prepare in very good bhasmas. Standardized raw materials like HDR, well, okay. Interdisciplinary studies giving more speed and accuracy for results. We discussed these things. Then next slide, please. Negative aspects facing today's research. What is the lack of today's research? When we are adopting modern research methodology into our science, we feel it is inadequate. Expert physicians are very less to comment upon the science. That is another one. Expert physicians are very less to comment upon the science. We need clinicians, those who are giving lectures in the colleges, those who are doing research in the colleges, those who are doing even the literary research about Rasasastra. They should practice. At least they should treat for 10 people per day. Then only they can correctly interpret the science to the slogans. Then only they can squeeze the actual sense of the slogans mentioned in your classics. Otherwise, they may interpret it wrongly, and the next generation will suffer. The students will suffer. That is a negative aspect. And inadequacy of modern parameters to calibrate the exact changes of research drugs. That everybody, those who are went for a thesis or research may face this problem. I will tell you, we have to develop our own parameters, our own methodologies. That's the only source. That's the only way, I think. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Then another one is industrial development. Many existing pharmacies have recently started RSA preparations. That is an advancement. In former days, it was very difficult to get RSA medicines. Now we are not fulfilled all these things, but we are advanced. For example, the very famous pharmacy, Cortical, they are also started slowly to manufacture some of the rasa preparations. So existing pharmacies, those who are preparing only herbal preparations, they step to rasa preparations. Why? How? So physicians were in need of this thing. They know how to use this safely. This is some medicine now. So only herbal medicine. Kerala physicians are practicing only herbal medicine. It's not like that. It was a dogma. It was a misconcept. But now we have 3 pharmacies where exclusively rasa preparations are manufactured. That is an advancement. Why? Because there is a demand. Why demand developed? Because the academy developed. How academy developed? Academy developed as a part of research. New GMP schedule drafted and implemented for rasa drug manufacturing, which ensures safety and efficacy of the drugs. As a part of this central government, Ayush department, they came forward the right time and they implemented good manufacturing practice schedule separately for rasa drug manufacturing. That is very important. It's a very good step. That is an advancement. We have to adopt it. It's an advancement. And drug standardization units started different parts of our nation. Yes, drug standardization units started in different parts of our nation. Now, after preparing a rasa medicine, to check the rasa medicine, different labs are available very near. So different parts, there is drug standardization units everywhere nowadays. It's easy, more easy. See, advancement is a not target plate. It's a continuously growing phenomena. So most of the rasa preparations, including totally available in the market. No, totally kalpa is available nowadays in the market. Some of the pharmacies are marketing totally kalpa. There's an advancement. In former days, Vaidya people were preparing themselves and they were using for their patient. And when rasa factories, rasa pharmacies are developed, they were preparing only some herbal preparations like Khalil rasayanas and some Kupipaka rasayanas like that. But now, since about 5 to 6 years, I think, or 10 years maybe maximum, we are getting Potalikalpa in the open market. There's an advancement. Next slide, please. And clinical growth. Yes, that is most important. Without that, the system, the Shastra is useless. Even though CCIM includes the Shastra among the paramedical category, in all colleges, there is no ward, there is no OP for Rasasastra department. So the students are not getting sufficient clinical training in Rasasastra. But more young physicians have started classical rasa practice now. I know personally in Kerala, rasa practice have now spread all over parts of our country where it was silent or suppressed. Typical example is Kerala, where the rasa practice were silent in some period. Earlier it was this. There was a number of texts written in Malayalam about Rasasastra. But even though it was silent or suppressed some other way, but now it's coming back. Young physicians, they are using. There is a demand for rasa preparations all over Kerala now. Some of the oncologists also started use of rasa drugs for their patients in place of chemotherapy. That's another advancement. Some of the modern oncologists, they started to use rasa medicine. I know personally some of the very experienced oncologists of Kerala. They were now using Rasa medicines. And they are astonishingly praising the properties of Rasa medicine now. That's a real growth. That is the growth. How much we can talk about the research and all these things. It should, everything, the academic growth and everything should reflect on clinical growth. Then only we can say that the system is growing. That is the target of our system, treatment. So that's we are developing. Next slide, please. So with that, I'm finishing my talks. Thank you one and all for the patient hearing. Thank you to those, the JSS institution, the principal and others, the HOD of Rasa department for inviting me and giving me a chance to share my views on this topic. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir,
Bye.
for addressing and highlighting the different scopes of research in the field of Rasasastra, and also emphasizing the recent advances, special reference to academics, clinical, and industrial area-wise. Now we have a few questions, sir, regarding about your guest talk.
Okay.
The first question is that even though Kajali, Rasaparpati, Rasasindhura, Hingula, and Rasapotali are chemically same, how the therapeutic effect changes?
Yeah, therapeutic effects change not only depend upon the chemical structure. Its changes depends upon sometimes chemical structure, sometimes physical structure. So Kajali, you know, it's a red sulfate of mercury, but the Hingula is Kajali is a black sulfate of mercury, and Hingula and Rasasindhura is a red sulfate of mercury. Why the color is changed? Because the crystal form is changed, crystal modification is there. Crystal modification will make difference in pharmacodynamics in the body. So Kajali is Sara and Rasasindhura is not Sara. Hingula is not Sara. Okay. So that is one of the one factor that we can show. This is a change. Why Rasamanikya is safer than Haritala? Because crystal modification. So crystal modification is a factor. Okay.
Another question, sir. What is the crystal structure in case of Potali Kalpa?
A Potali Kalpa means, you know, what is Kajali? Kajali is a Murchana. It's a Kajali Baddha. So it is Sara. And what is Parpati? Parpati is Pota Baddha. What is the difference between Kajali and Parpati? The energy level is a little bit different. We cannot show by modern technology these things, but that is a concept of Rasasastra. It's a Poda Baddha, some more higher Baddha than Kajali Baddha. Sapota Parpati Kakya, Bala Dyakhila Joganand. What is Rasasindhura? It is Jarita Baddha. It's a Jarana is happened. Gandhaka Jarana is happened, it's more Pachana. So the change is a Parpati is more Pachana, Rasasindhura. And what is Makaradhvaja? It is Sabija Baddha. Bija means rasa, gold and silver. So when you put gold or silver into the Rasasindhura and Jarana is happened. Jarana means it's a sublimation, repeated sublimation. Repeated sublimation is a technique used to reduce the particle size in the nanotechnological field nowadays. So the effect is changed. And what is this one? Potali Kalpa? Potali Kalpa is Dhruti Baddha. Go through what is the characteristics of Dhruti Baddha. Among Dhruti Baddha, it is more potent than all these Baddha. When from one first Baddha is coming to the upper Baddhas, the effect, the potency of the drug is increasing. So Dhruti Baddha is more potent. It's highly potent and it's speedy and it's even absorbed from the tongue. That is importance.
One more question, sir.
Please.
How the weight of Parada will not increase after Jarana?
Pardon? Once again. Not well audible.
Why the weight of Parada will not increase after Jarana?
That is the question. Because we don't know what is Jarana. Nobody has done the Jarana. So how we can define, how we can explain whether the weight of Jarana is increasing or not? If it is increasing, how much? If it is decreasing, how much? We don't know. If one person is succeeded in doing Jarana, then only we can make a study upon that one. I pinpointed about the Agnisthapana Karma. When we started about the Agnisthapana Karma, we thought that if you are making a fire stable of a material, we call Agnisthapita. Suppose you take Hingula and go for Agnisthapana. And we were thinking, how foolish we are. Any material can burn by Agni. So we have to fix the temperature range. In that way, Western people, the scientific fraternity, we need research in our field also to develop our own thought process. Jarana is an area, very good area, where we have to work. That is very much important. Bhubutshita Parada, I told you. We don't know. Nobody is preparing like that. I never saw such a person who is capable to do the Ambrasatha Jarana. So how I can answer your question?
Thank you, sir. Once again, we are very glad to have you as a guest resource person on the topic recent advances in Russia. Accepting our invitation for this Vishodhana 2020 International Webinar on Advanced Research. Once again, at 10 o'clock, the guest speaker will be Dr. Ajayan S. He will be speaking on global understanding of flora by principles of Ayurveda. Thank you one and all for patience listening.